The clock says 7, even though that one's a little bit short. Call this meeting to order. This is the Breezy Point City Council regular meeting, August 4th, 2014. The time is 7 p.m. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The usual, there should be one full copy of the agenda on the back table or packet and several copies of the agenda if you don't have one and would like one. Item number 3 on the agenda after the Pledge of Allegiance is the consent calendar. On the consent calendar, we have council minutes, July 7, 2014. We have approval of claims totaling $57,406.82. That includes checks 131361 through 131410, as well as 001105E-001107E. Also on the consent calendar, this is item C, partial payment number 2 for Creek Circle White Birch Drive project in the amount of $200,774.57, and a change order, which is number 1. The total of the change order is $7,777.00. $675 of that is for mulch. Let's see, what does it say? Hydro mulch rather than straw mulch on the golf course. That's $675. The remainder is to meet new locating wire specifications for the sewer line, and that total was 7102.00, again, totaling 777.00. Those are the items on the consent calendar. Councilmember Williams, is there anything you would like to see pulled off the consent calendar for discussion?
No.
Thank you.
No.
No?
No.
No?
No.
Thank you. Then the consent calendar stands as presented. It is approved. Next item, open forum. This is an opportunity for anyone who would like to come forward and speak to the council on anything that either is on the agenda or is not. If it is not on the agenda, certainly if it is, we'll take your comments into consideration as we reach that topic and discuss it. If it's not on the agenda, if it's simple, sometimes we just answer the question. Otherwise, we take it under consideration for the next meeting. So if there's anyone who would like to come forward, now would be the opportunity. Oh dear.
Don't panic. Neil nervous and management.
Thank you, Neil.
Don't panic, Mayor. Been sitting quietly.
I know, for so long.
No, this weekend, the Pelican Way Conservation Club had their corn feed, or their fundraiser over at JJ's, and we were hauling the tent back, and I got to see that they're all they've got their parking lot all laid out to be expanded, and their driveway out to the road. And so one of the things we were talking about when we were unloading out there is that it would be nice someday, and a project maybe for the road crew or the road committee to look at for someday, but if they bring that driveway all the way out to the road, of course, there'll just be a small section of gravel between County Road 4 and the entrance to the Pelican Lake Conservation Club at that point. And so I just thought, as a member, certainly not here on behalf of the club, just a member of the Conservation Club, I'd suggest that maybe that could be a project looked at. I don't know how that would be assessed or what would happen in a project like that, but it might be something that would make some sense. Because now they're going to have nice pavement, big parking areas. The area gets used a lot with the community. It's rented out for community functions. And of course, a lot of our community members are members of the Conservation Club. So I just thought it might be something to look at down the road. They haven't paved it yet, but I'm thinking they're going to do it this week sometime.
Okay, well, thank you for the information. You're actually not the first person to bring this forward to an individual here.
Okay.
Chief Merschman threw out a good line about that, so we'll see what comes
okay.
up for discussion. Thank you.
Yep, thanks.
Anyone else care to come forward? No? Seeing no one who would like to come forward, we'll close the open forum then and move into the rest of the agenda. Mayor and council member report. as mayor, I have nothing to report. I missed last meeting. I'm sorry about that. It was the first one in a number of years. But I wasn't feeling very well, and I am now very well, so thank you. That's my only report. I'll move on to council members, and Otto has his name here, but I'm going to go to everyone else first, Otto. If I may.
Why is that?
Just because. Councilmember Williams, is there something you would like to report?
Well, I see parks is farther into the agenda, but I do have a comment about a park issue, and it just occurred to me just now, so I'm not trying to go around Joe or anything. I have had a report that there's a lot of poison ivy, and you are the weed inspector, on the walking trail over there by Winter Trail. And that possibly that's hindering some people from using it.
Very good. I thank you for that report, and I would say for those of you that didn't catch on to what she said, by state statute, every mayor is the official weed inspector, whether we know anything or not. We do have, by state statute, the right to appoint someone, and the person in Public Works that does that, Dave Szymanski, they have helped us in other areas regarding that. Poison ivy is rampant this year.
Yes.
And we'll take that under consideration and talk to city staff about it, so thank you. Is there anything else?
No.
Councilmember Little?
I have nothing.
Okay. Councilmember Maroney?
Nothing further than what Otto will talk about.
At some length.
Okay, well, I guess we've cleared the way. Thank you.
I hope that last bit of information that you threw out, Madam Mayor, isn't going to cause our to be appointed Public Works Supervisor to run out of here before we could and do that. But I have a report from the Roads Committee. It'll be hopefully brief. We have met on several occasions with Joe and with Dave Szymanski to talk about maintenance activities for the roadways, as well as some potential paving projects. All of this, of course, has to be driven by available funds. Joe has estimated that it looks like we'll have approximately $350,000 available to do some road work next year. I remind the council that the city has gotten into arrears a little bit because there was a hiatus from doing paving and for doing maintenance, this basically the seal coating. We've been doing crack sealing, but we have not been doing seal coating. This year we did some seal coating. We hope to continue that next year. We asked staff to prepare a list showing us roads that would benefit from seal coating. We do have some paved roads that we feel are in a condition where seal coating would not be beneficial. They need to be either reconstructed or repaved. We have instructed staff to present that list, compile the list, and to have that ready. We have also talked about doing some construction, paving, I should say, and I gotta find my list here somewhere. What the committee is recommending are 3 projects for upgrade from gravel to bituminous. They're Shady Trail, Rainier Drive, and Snowman Circle. The total, if I have the numbers correctly, for the bituminous work, gravel to bituminous, we're estimating would be about $250,000, and that's just an estimate, rough. That would leave us about $100,000 for seal coating. So that will drive the number of roadways, that amount will drive the number of roadways we'll be able to seal coat, and we're recommending those 3 roads that I mentioned from gravel to bituminous and we want to proceed under the 429 process. And I would ask Joe, maybe if you would like, he could explain what that entails as to what our next steps would be.
Under 429, you're assessing properties for benefit to the property, and much like the project we did with Creek Circle and Whitewater, or White Birch Drive, excuse me, we'll be going through that process of feasibility study, calling public hearings, and that sort of thing that we did last year to accomplish these projects. Much like we did last year, we would go through the process of bidding before we award the project, so we know where we're at with regards to any potential appeals or problems along the way. But, you know, given that stance, shortly after we kind of get things together, we need to start that process. We did a hurry-up thing last year with it, just getting bids in, and was it February or March? Late February, nailed the bids. And it's nice to get bids early in the year, you usually get good bids, and you can get the project done during the year. So we need to start the project pretty soon. But we need, you know, Dave just did some really quick estimates of these project costs, and so we probably need to start fairly soon if we're going to move in that direction.
I'll stand for any questions. Michael, who's on the committee with me, I'm sure, yeah, I don't know if you have anything.
No, just that the estimated 250,000 for the 3 roads is all assessed, so we'd be getting, it'd be slowly but surely coming back. Where the estimated 100,000 would be just maintenance, like we did this year, for seal coating.
Very good. Councilmember Lillehei, questions, comments?
Now, you're starting to put together a list, so is this kind of the low-hanging fruit on that, the list as far as
The seal coat?
priorities for the gravel to the bituminous?
Yeah, what we tried to do on that, and correct me if I'm wrong, Michael, is we looked at areas where it had previously been talked about going from gravel to bituminous. We do have a couple of sections where we have bituminous and then it's separated by gravel. We felt it would make some sense to complete that work. But you know, we're not recommending a whole lot. We're
Okay.
taking three roadways right now, and that's dependent on final estimates and what they come down to. I mean, these are very rough estimates right now. I don't think Mike has looked at it, so he's not given us any kind of
What were the roads again? I got Shady Trail, Snowman Circle. What was it?
Rainier.
Rainier.
And Rainier, yeah.
Okay. That's all I have.
Okay, Councilmember Williams.
I have a question. Do you have roads selected for the coating?
Yeah, what we've asked staff to do, they compiled a list. We have a printout, and what we asked them to do is to go back, take the roads that would benefit from seal coating that are the oldest roads. In other words, we have some that would benefit, but they were probably constructed in 2004, 2005, 2006. But there are roads that were actually paved before that haven't been seal coated. So we want to go back and get those first.
Okay. And then I had another question. On those streets you've selected, are there a lot of tax forfeited lots, or are these roads that pretty much have all the assessments paid?
Joe could probably answer that. I know we discussed that part of it, but
Well, Michael and I were looking at the map, and I don't remember the exact number. Rainier was like 7, Shady Trail was like 5. I don't remember looking at.
Out of like how
Snowman.
many?
Snowman had none.
Like out of how many? 7 out of?
Oh,
Rainier had like 30, 40. I think.
it'll be more than that.
Tax
Yeah.
forfeited?
no, not
Oh,
forfeit.
lots,
Lots.
okay.
Lots of lots, yeah, over there and Shady Trail would be, and there was a limited number of tax forfeit lots.
Okay. Because I think that's a consideration,
Oh,
how
yeah.
much will be bearing the brunt.
We did, Diane, talk about that at the meetings, and that was one of the concerns we had. If you go in under this process for assessment, you want to make sure that somebody's going to be paying the assessment. If it's tax forfeited, you don't get it until it's purchased and whatever.
Any further questions or comments?
No.
Do you have any further comments based upon what was just said?
Well, I would think it might be well if the council this evening, if they're okay with the report, perhaps a motion would be in order to instruct staff to begin the work necessary. Would you suggest, Joe, that would be a
Sure,
proper?
that'd be fine. We get a little firmer estimates and get a handle on getting started.
You know, we should have firmer, I think a better idea going into the budgetary process, just so we know a little closer as to where we're at.
The type of motion that you've just suggested is really to start the ball rolling on getting more accurate data so that we can finally bring it forward and vote on specifics.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, I would be glad to make a motion to instruct staff to begin the process of developing estimates for the upgrade from gravel to bituminous for Shady Trail, Rainier Drive, and Snowman Circle, and also to compile the list for roads to be seal coated in 2015 that would, roads that would benefit from seal coating in 2015 based on an allotment of approximately $100,000.
Do I have a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Discussion?
Nothing further?
Okay.
The only thing that I would kind of like to see further is to formalize the report. In other words, we've had a verbal report. I think it would be in our best interest to put together something in writing that we can refer to in the future. I think it would be a good idea to get it formalized in a regular document that we can refer to in the future.
And Joe, that would be
Well,
staff?
we can put together a memo that
Right.
outlines what we're talking about, but then, taking it a step further, particularly for the construction projects, we'd have to have a feasibility report. There'd be resolutions that are required from the council to order those things.
Right. I guess what I'm looking for is kind of an overall, a memo maybe would be fine, or just some sort of document that we can refer to that says, here's our overall game plan.
Okay.
Councilmember Williams? Nothing further? Councilmember Maroney? We have a motion on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, motion carries. Thank you for the report, Councilmember Schmidt, appreciate it. Next, item 6, committee and commission reports. Park Committee, Fishing Boardwalk Award. We have quite a bit of paper in our packet regarding this. This is a project that's been talked about for a long time. The quotes come in, they seem to grow, or else there's no interest in doing it the way it was initially laid out, and so you've had to come up with some different ideas on how to possibly make this work, no matter what is chosen, given what's on, the offering here. It's all going to come out more than we had actually budgeted for in the beginning. I think what I'd like to do is, Diane, start with you. You've been chairing.
No, our chairman is there, I'm the liaison.
I know that, but you're on the committee.
Oh,
You've been
yes.
on the committee a long time. As a council member, would you speak to this issue?
Yeah, it's a project that we've all on the park committee really put our hearts into it, and we're very enthusiastic about it, and we're so disappointed that the NJP, that bid, just couldn't work for us with that company and get that, what we felt would be a better deal. So I actually have questions for Mike, but we do want to move forward, and one of the things I'm very hesitant about is moving forward too fast and doing a project that's less quality than what we wanted. And so I want some assurances on that, because whatever we put in, we want it to last, and we want it to be a certain quality, not just, to be done. Let's just get it done. We're not thinking like that. So it's been frustrating for us, and confusing even now because I'm not quite sure what the second proposal consists of. So if I could ask him some questions, it might clarify it for a lot of people. Originally, we were thinking all aluminum, maintenance-free, cement on cement piers, handicap accessible, and a real long-lived project. But there's had to be some changes, and I'm wondering, Mike, if you could explain, will it still be on the cement piers, or is it going to be the screwed-in things? And, you know, how is it different now than what we originally planned and dreamed?
These are fair questions. We did not receive with our bid any type of design drawing showing exactly what it is. We got just the briefest text along with the proposal from this lot doc and also from the Copper Creek Landscapes. If you have a lot of specific questions, I won't be able to answer them because, like I said, that information hasn't been provided. But I'm looking at both, reputable local businesses, and I would maybe suggest, rather than just blanket awarding, maybe you could award it based on meeting with them to discuss what they're planning to provide, and that'd be acceptable to the park committee. So we haven't provided a whole pile of detail.
So right now, you don't know whether these bids you brought
Information
us.
you have in your packet.
Yeah, that's
is
it.
the information that I have.
So the question is, are they on the screw-in things or are they on cement? We don't know that answer. And then
When
I had,
talked to, and Joe mentioned you had a couple of questions this
Yeah.
afternoon, and I talked to, called them or talked to. One of them was whether the actual boardwalk panels would be removable, and he said those could certainly be bolted down if that was something we wanted, so they would walk away.
yeah, you might see them out on my dock or something.
And
I
as
hear
far
about
as
that.
what they're planning to do for mounting, they were talking about, basically it's a dock construction. They're gonna have the dock, whatever pads they have on the bottom of the feet with the post extending down further and driving those into the ground is the way it sounds. You're planning on doing it. Those are the only two questions I knew about, and I'm sure you probably have
Well,
many more.
then I have another one then. With that, I'm not familiar with that type of construction, but I do know with my dock that's on those discs, one kid running on the dock and you're out on the end and you're like swaying.
Two
And
stabilizers between the two that I'm sure they're planning on providing, but like I said, the information you have is the information I have. It would probably be best if you'd like to award anything soon, moving the award based on a successful meeting with the vendor explaining what they were planning to do, maybe bringing us some pictures because they haven't provided us any information.
and then as far as you know what they're proposing, is it sort of standard? So if we do a second or possibly a third phase, it would be like something that would match with it? So we wouldn't have one chunk of something and something totally different and
The information that you have.
something. I mean, I know you talked to the guy, so is this
Sure,
their
you have many
standard?
more questions, and I just don't
Okay.
have the answers to those. because
Okay.
I wasn't provided with the 20-page proposal, that's basically a half-a-page email saying what they were looking for. So, I would think they're planning on building something standard to what they normally, when they're talking about building it in the 8-foot sections. I think that's something that they build on a regular basis, so 2 years from now, the same type of section will be available. That's an assumption. I don't have details.
My dock's from Nisswa Dock, so
Okay.
I have those, yeah.
I have a question, if I may interrupt here.
Yes.
I guess I'm a little confused. Are we talking about a permanent
Yes,
dock, not a removable,
Correct.
end of the season?
correct.
Okay.
I mean, if you recall, the picture's not here.
But what you've described as going, the stabilizers and the base is very similar to what's on a removable dock, correct?
Right, but what he's saying is he thinks that they go right through the center and send something even
Okay.
deeper?
That's what you're talking about when I asked you.
Okay.
So that is some of the hesitancy that we feel, because we're so disappointed that other design and that company, they really are not interested in dealing with us. They're busy with other projects. And so because we've had to go this other plan, that's some of my fears. But I know there's a lot of interest in the community to do the project, but I don't want to do a half decent project. I want to do a totally decent project.
May I ask one more question in the midst of
Sure.
your, what, based upon what we think is going to happen with permanent construction here, what are we looking at in terms of getting it done this season? End of September? I mean, I'm just guessing. Docs start coming out in September.
Right now would be, they did state it explicitly in their proposal, but right now is a very slow time of the year
Mhm.
for the dock people, or board water people in our case.
So now would be a
Spring
good
and fall
time.
is a very busy time, so I would think they would do a very good job of it right now. That part, when I talked to, that was something that was said this afternoon when I was asking the question, that they have two people that I've been dealing with, and I asked where the first one was. They said, well, it's really slow this time of year, so it only works about 3 days a week, so I think it would be very good.
So when we do meet with them, and they tell you exactly what they're proposing, you would be able to tell us if it's, equivalent to what we're desiring to have as far as sturdiness, longevity.
Yeah.
You'd be able to recognize a good plan.
And I'm pretty sure that we'll be satisfied with what they're talking about, but it hasn't been, like I said, we don't have anything explicit saying this is exactly how it's going together.
And then when it is, who like looks at it while they're building it and makes sure, they tell us it's gonna be yay many feet down in the muck, who goes and checks that? Okay.
Okay, I'd like to go down the council table and then we'll talk about what our options are here. Councilmember Lillehei.
Right, and I basically have kind of the same questions as Commissioner Williams is having, as far as there's not a lot of detail here as far as how it's constructed. Whether it's wooden posts going down into the muck, or whether it's steel posts or aluminum posts, or what it is. And
We're not having wood, I'll tell you that.
well, when you look at the pictures from
That
this.
was a company we just sort of rolled out because it was all wood.
Okay. So this was the high tech that we're seeing?
No, the high-tech's, would have been with, no. But that was the aisle,
First one,
yeah,
Oh, custom
Last
boardwalk.
one's custom boardwalk.
the IQC stuff.
Okay. I think I would agree with Joe as far as maybe we should have a short meeting to get at least some sketches as to how it's going to be constructed, so we have a little bit better thing to work with.
Well, one of the things, what we're looking for now was to get permission to move forward.
Right.
Because if, like we were saying, if what they show us when they do more detailed plans for us to look at and Mike to analyze, do we have, and if it's satisfactory to Mike and Parks, do we have permission from the council to go forward? That's where we're at right now. And so we're actually looking for that motion, aren't we, Joe?
I'm not exactly comfortable with the agreement, but on the other hand, timing is such that, if you can get it done now, you kind of need to do that.
Any other questions, Councilmember Lillehei?
The amounts that we're looking at, if we were to move forward blindly, is it the 43, 853, or is it the 53,
Or the
372?
46.
Or the 44, 3.
46, 412.
46, 412.